Hi everyone, Sean here from Attack Panic. In this lesson, I'm going to discuss what anxiety actually is. Now this stuff is really important, so please humour me and watch the entire lesson, at least just to get a basic understanding. That's all you actually need.
First of all, let's take a quick look at the anxiety scale. If you were to map anxiety on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 would be very relaxed and calm. 3 or 4 would be your normal baseline non-anxious state. And 9 or 10 would be the activation of the emergency fight or flight response. Now, fluctuations across the scale is perfectly normal and in fact healthy during the course of a normal day. For example, when you are meditating, you feel very relaxed and calm. When you are going about your normal daily business and routine, your anxiety levels would sit around this normal level. For non-sufferers, of course. If you are going out on a hot date, or maybe even buying a new toy, you will be in a heightened, excited state. Maybe you are having a tough time at work and you are under a lot of pressure, or maybe you have had a run-in with your neighbour. If this is the case, then it is likely that your level will rise to around 7 or 8. Maybe you have to go and meet the parents, raising your levels to an anxious 8. It could happen. Or most likely, it will be a job interview, some sort of exam or test, or even road rage that will tip you into level 8. Suffering a personal loss like a bereavement of a loved one or even a pet will without doubt cause a lot of pain and anxiety. Other losses like a financial loss will also do the trick. Then of course, there will be times when you may be exposed to real danger or trauma, like experiencing a massive earthquake. In this situation, you can be assured that your levels will skyrocket to 10, activating the emergency fight or flight response without any effort at all.
Now all this could be a typical day in the life of pretty much anyone. Give or take different experiences, of course, but you get the general idea here. Generally speaking, most people get on and deal with their issues and challenges of life, do whatever needs to be done, and manage through various ways to come back down to the normal baseline anxiety level.
But when you suffer from an anxiety condition such as GAD, OCD, PTSD, your anxiety levels get stuck at higher than normal levels, say between 6 to 8. This is your new normal level for you, and you find yourself living in a constant anxious state. Panic attacks occur when your anxiety levels have shot through the roof, triggering the emergency response to protect you against, well, nothing. It's a false alarm. More on that later. Whether you are responding to a real threat or danger, or whether you are having a panic attack, you are triggering the same emergency response. It's just that one is real and one is a false alarm. So to recap, anxiety is perfectly healthy and normal. It's part of our inbuilt survival programming, controlled by our subconscious mind through our autonomic nervous system. Everyone experiences anxiety, for the most part, when it is appropriate. It's vital to healthy function. It's part of the problem-solving process. It alerts us to danger, helps us to perform, to react decisively when competing in a sport or when protecting or saving someone's life, for example. Anxiety is part of the problem-solving process. It's a call to action. It lets us know there is a problem that needs attention or action. Maybe you have a report due tomorrow and you haven't finished it because you've been stuffing around. Maybe you're working too hard and are exhausted and need a break, need to slow down. Or maybe your wife is about to walk in the door and you haven't cleaned the kitchen like you said you would.
So there's no need to be afraid of anxiety, to run from anxiety. Anxiety is designed to protect and look after us. And you have trained it to do exactly that, just at the wrong times as you're about to learn. From this point on then, I want you to start looking at anxiety differently to how you have been. I want you to start looking at anxiety as your friend, albeit an overprotective and overreactive friend at this point in time, but not for long. Sounds like my BFF, he's a little bit like that. So I've just taken you through what anxiety is. I hope it's making sense so far. It's not rocket science, and I probably haven't told you anything you don't already know. Like I said earlier, I won't make you smarter, but over the course of this program, I will make you better. That being said, let's move on to the emergency response.
All of our automatic vital functions are controlled through our subconscious mind or unconscious mind, whatever term you wish to use. We trust that our heart will continue to beat and that our bodily functions will perform perfectly without constant conscious effort or guidance. We trust that our subconscious mind will take care of these automatic life-sustaining functions. It is brilliantly capable of maintaining a healthy equilibrium between expenditure and conservation of energy, and is designed to handle extreme activity, responding to an emergency instinctually in an instant. Shifts between these two poles are perfectly normal and vital to the healthy rhythm of life. Left to its own devices, the subconscious mind will always seek out a healthy balance. Remember, fluctuations across the scale is perfectly normal and healthy. For example, as part of your built-in survival programming, when the brain detects a real threat or danger, it flips the emergency or fight or flight switch. Adrenaline is released into the bloodstream and all hell breaks loose. All your systems react instantaneously to prepare you to run or defend. All your senses, hearing, smell, sight, and touch become heightened, and you become wired, on edge, and agitated. This is a normal response to the adrenaline rush, preparing you for action. Your blood is diverted away from your digestive system to your brain and lungs, and out to your skeletal muscles for optimum performance. You deal with the threat and situation appropriately by running away from it or sticking around and fighting, so to speak. Either way, the threat is gone, the adrenaline has been used up, the emergency switch is turned off, and your anxiety levels have dropped back down to normal, to say 3 to 4 on the anxiety scale. This fight or flight response is perfectly normal, perfectly healthy towards real danger. The amygdala are a small pair of almond-shaped organs and can be found in the part of the brain called the limbic system. Whatever we experience through our life, the full emotional memory of that experience is permanently imprinted within this emotional circuitry. The primary role of the amygdala is in the processing of memory, emotion, and fear, including the formation and storage of anxiety-related emotions. Furthermore, the amygdala is also responsible for regulating anxiety levels in the body, controlling the release of stress hormones such as adrenaline, and also triggering the anxious fight or flight response when there is real danger, and even when there is no real danger in the case of a phobia. Think of the amygdala as a thermostat, with the anxiety needle preset to normal. At this normal level, the anxiety response can only be triggered by real danger. However, through behavior modification, known as operant conditioning, also known as fear conditioning, the amygdala can be modified to react differently. More on that later.
As mentioned before, operant conditioning is the learning process that takes place when we learn a new habit or skill, good or bad, by repeating a process, action, thought, or behavior over and over until the behavior, thought, or skill has become a habit. We repeat this action in order to become proficient at them so that they become automatic, instinctual, and accepted by the subconscious as perfectly normal behavior. The subconscious mind cannot differentiate with what is real or unreal. Operant conditioning, or more specifically fear conditioning, is responsible for anxiety conditions.
When we learn or experience something, whether that be learning a new language, skill or habit, whether good or bad, it becomes part of our neural pathways and associations in the brain and is permanently imprinted in the emotional circuitry of the brain. For example, learning something about a country, its cultures and history, for instance, becomes part of your brain's neural pathways. Thinking about that country will activate many other memories of that country, as they are all linked together by the neural pathways in the brain. Everything you learn about that country, its cultures, traditions, geography, demographics, and political and historical events, your brain ties all this information together into neural associations in your brain relating to that country. The information is stored there, but if you're anything like me, sometimes finding it again isn't so easy.
When you learn to do anything, a skill, a habit, anything at all, your brain gradually develops the neural pathways that eventually allow you to perform the thing learnt automatically. The more you practice, the better the quality and effort you put in, the more your brain pathways are rewired. Over time, you find yourself performing the skill or habit without even thinking about it. All the practice has made it automatic. Initially, the new skill or habit you are learning is difficult and feels unnatural at first. But as you practice and persevere, you gradually improve. You become more and more proficient. The skill or habit feels more and more natural. Your brain is rewiring and arranging new neural pathways and associations in order to learn the skill or habit. And as they develop, you become more proficient. The more you practice, the more these neural pathways and associations grow. It doesn't matter what you learn, it all becomes permanently imprinted within the vast neural associations in the brain, containing over 1 billion nerve cells.
This is the learning process taking place during operant conditioning. Everything in your life works like this. Whatever you experience, learn, and repeat develops new neural pathways and associations in the brain, and through practice and repetition, over time you gradually get better and better at something, whether it is good or bad, real or unreal. Without repetition, neural pathways and associations cannot change. The nervous system controls every part of your daily life, from breathing and running to learning and memorizing, as well as instinctual reactions. Your brain is receiving information from your environment through the sensory nerves via the spinal cord. The brain then makes sense of the information and fires off a corresponding response, delivered from the brain out to the rest of the body through the nervous system. The nervous system is divided into two major divisions: the central nervous system, which is composed of the brain and the spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system, which is made up of the nerves that communicate instructions to your limbs and organs. The peripheral nervous system has two further divisions: the skeletal or somatic nervous system, which provides nerves to limbs and also other areas like eyes and mouth, and the autonomic nervous system, which provides nerves to internal organs including the diaphragm, heart, lungs and intestines, as well as, among other functions, regulating heartbeat and digestion.
It was previously believed that the autonomic nervous system was not under our voluntary control. However, over the last few decades, we have discovered that it is possible to consciously influence these processes. You, the anxiety sufferer, are proof of this. Through your anxious habitual behavior, you have created the sensations of a false fear throughout your body, controlling and altering your body's normal processes. There is no real danger, but your body is behaving as if there is, altering functions like heart rate, body temperature, digestion, circulation, pupil dilation, blood pressure, and perspiration. You have prepared your body for danger that doesn't exist. Through your thoughts, your subconscious habitual thoughts, you have influenced the autonomic system.
The autonomic nervous system is further divided into two systems, the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. The sympathetic system is responsible for expenditure of energy or speeding up the physical response. If you are confronted with an immediate danger, this system is activated through the release of chemical intermediaries, such as adrenaline, into the bloodstream to help your body mobilize the energy to either fight or run away from the threat. This is known as the fight or flight response. When this occurs, certain changes in bodily functions occur to prepare the body to respond. Your pupils dilate, your heart rate speeds up, breathing increases, and blood pressure rises dramatically. Another important response is that blood flows immediately to your limbs, and you are overcome with an immense desire to escape from the immediate environment. Blood vessels end up causing certain areas of your body to constrict so that blood flow is increased to those areas that are critical to immediate survival, such as heart, lungs, and skeletal muscle stability. This response has developed through evolution and is critical to ensure that those parts of your body are equipped with the extra resources required to deal with the danger, real or unreal. This fight or flight or panic response is perfectly normal when there is a real danger. The sympathetic nervous system is activated very rapidly, taking only a matter of seconds for the blood to flow from the center of the body and out to your arms and legs where it is urgently required to deal with the impending danger. This quick response system is very handy when you are presented with real danger.
However, especially in our modern times, our sympathetic nervous system has become a little too overactive and excited. This is the anxious response in your body. This is anxiety. Some of us can also experience this anxious response when feeling stressed, taking a test, and competing in an event. You will recall that during an anxious response, blood flow is diverted from the center of the body. This includes the intestines, which causes digestion to be slowed. The accompanying feeling is commonly known as butterflies and can also manifest itself as nausea and indigestion. Many of us experience this sensation when public speaking or preparing for an event or competition. This anxious response, under these circumstances, can be very useful in preparing us for the event or competition so that we are ready mentally and physically to compete. This is perfectly appropriate, perfectly normal. These fight or flight responses are experienced as sensations throughout your body. In the case of an anxiety condition, when the sufferer activates the anxious response, they interpret these sensations as fear to varying degrees. When there is no real danger or threat, these sensations are very uncomfortable, scary, and very unpleasant for the sufferer. Even though the experience leaves the sufferer feeling helpless and scared, these sensations are absolutely harmless and have never and never will harm the sufferer. If the sympathetic nervous system is the anxiety on switch, then the parasympathetic nervous system, the other branch of the autonomic nervous system, is therefore the anxiety off switch. The parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for slowing the body down to conserve energy, attending to life-nurturing jobs like digestion. When the parasympathetic nervous system switch is on, you feel deeply relaxed and calm. These two systems are diametrically opposed. They cannot coexist and they cannot operate simultaneously. You know through your own experiences that you cannot feel anxious and relaxed at the same time. An important aspect to point out here is that because of the way these two systems function, you cannot turn the anxiety switch off simply by consciously trying to control it. All you end up doing is fighting with it. And all that will do is exasperate the anxious response, elevating the sensations to new heights. The more you resist, the more it persists. The only way to turn the switch off is to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. As an anxiety sufferer, you know this is true firsthand. When you are experiencing a panic attack, for example, you have no doubt tried to talk yourself out of it rationally at the conscious level to no avail. all that happens is that you get even more wound up, leaving you feeling helpless. In the case of an anxious response to a real danger, the anxiety switch is turned off when the threat is no longer present. The built-up energy has been expended by confronting and fighting off or running from the threat. When the threat is gone and the energy has been used up, the body will return to normal functioning levels and the anxiety switch will turn off. That's just how it works. If you are an anxiety sufferer, you will be experiencing these horrible yet harmless sensations of fear, but there is nothing to run from. The only way to turn the anxiety switch off is to turn your conscious thoughts to letting go of the control over the anxious response and pour your attentions onto becoming relaxed. Remember, the sympathetic nervous system, or the anxiety on switch, cannot be turned off by consciously trying to turn it off. You have to relearn to let go and ignore these horrible and harmless sensations and focus on relaxing, and you do that through a non-resistant attitude.
Your thoughts can activate either the sympathetic or parasympathetic nervous system. Thoughts of worry, fear, being fed up, and negativity are the mental components of anxiety.